Hey there, it's Pete, GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day. And look, I got an email. Look at that sun, isn't that pretty? I got an email from a fellow that asked me a question, and I'm not going to tell you what the question he asked me, but what happened was it sparked up a interest in making a video to tell you. And basically what this video is going to be about, okay, is all you guys in the lawn care world and all you guys that are familiar with everything I'm getting ready to say, hey, go do something else. This is bare bone basic lawn care definitions, meaning what things are that we use in the yard. Because I actually got an email from a client that asked me, I quoted him our full tilt program, our premium program, which includes fungicide applications. And he asked me, does the fungicides control grubs? And you know, I just got to thinking, I said, well, maybe the guy just don't know. You know, this guy may be a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Maybe he doesn't know a dang thing about grass or what to do to grass. So this video is going to be bare bones basic. What does this do? What does this do? What does this do? And I hope this will clear the air. So lawn care guys, hey, if you got a client that's kind of you know, don't really know what's going on, maybe they're new into all this, feel free to share this video with them, because I think I'm gonna be able to break it down and really show you the bare bones of it. Hey, another cool thing is we hit that 4,000 subscriber mark, and my word, we blew right through the door. Man, I'm pretty humbled about it. I never thought I would have that many subscribers. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Thank you very much. So I've done the drawing. I'll show you the winners for those 3 biostimulant packs when we get done with this video. And you know, I was thinking on that, and in Acts, it makes reference to Jesus talking about it's more blessed to give than receive. And man, that's a cornerstone in my life. I try to live by that, just day to day. I mean, it's part of being obedient. It's part of living out your faith, living out the gospel. And I realistically and honestly brings me joy to give. And you ought to try it sometimes. It's very overwhelming at times to actually give to someone instead of being on the receiving end. So, with that being said, for every 1,000 subscribers, moving on until I get done making YouTube videos, which are probably going to be a while because I'm having a blast, I'm going to give away a free biostimulant pack. So when we hit 5,000, there'll be a winner. When we hit 6, there'll be a winner. 7, there'll be a winner. 8, and so on. When we get to 1 million subscribers, I will have given away that many biostimulant packs per 1,000. So, and my buddies over at Greene County, they don't do this. This is something I chose to do just because I appreciate you watching my videos. I think it's the coolest thing in the world. Let's go get at it. Okay, so here we go. Now, you're going to be seeing a little pointer here. And for my gun buddies, this is my carry weapon. It's a G19, Glock 19. I'm not going to get into the gun argument, but you can see the weapon is safe. Of course, I don't want my neighbors to see me walking around with a firearm, but it's the only thing I could get and stand back here and point. So this is going to be my pointer right here. So I think it's pretty cool. Okay, let's start with fertilizer. What is fertilizer? Fertilizer is basically food for your yard. It comes in many forms. Some of the most popular ones being a granular, which is a little prill pebble that you would put in a spreader and spread it out. The numbers on the bag represent the N, P, and K, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. All right, now as far as how many different types of fertilizers are there, gazillions. You name it, you pick any three numbers under 20 and somebody on the face of this planet probably has that analysis. 007, 18, 24, 12, 14, 8, 7, 27, 010, 4300. You get the point. There's so many different ones, and we customize ours to fit the specific need of the turf grass. So there's your granular fertilizer. There are liquid fertilizers as well. Most DIY guys aren't going to deal with the liquids. They're going to deal with the granular for the most part. Another part of fertilizer, this comes in the BioStimulant pack, is micronutrients. These are things like iron and magnesium, zinc, copper, all those little things that typically are not in the granular fertilizers, and you supplement with those. They play a little bit different role than the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Okay, so that's your fertilizer. Let's talk about herbicides. Okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples of 5 different herbicides. This is prodiamine. This is one example of a pre-emergent herbicide, meaning you put it down pre-germination. Meaning, if let's say your soil temperature, let's just say, for instance, I don't know because I don't pay attention to soil temperatures. I've never paid attention to them. Let's just say the crabgrass germinates at 55 degrees. When the soil temperature gets 55, that's when it germinates. I don't know if that's when it does or not, so don't get on me about that if I'm wrong. But let's just pretend it germinates at 55 degrees. You want to get this pre-emergent down before that happens, because you are trying to prevent the germination, pre-emergent. All right, if you put that down after germination, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Then you would use something like a post-emergent herbicide, meaning the herbicide you can physically, visually see the weed. It's there in your yard. It's big, nasty, gaudy, and ugly. You would treat that with a post-emergent, because you're post-germination. You're after the fact that it has busted its little seed, tacked its root down on the ground, and shot up and it has become a plant. That weed is now a thriving plant in your yard. I forgot to mention, when we're talking about those post-emergent herbicides, there's 2 different kinds. There's ones that will get broadleaf weeds, and then there's ones that will get grassy weeds. You have to be able to distinguish between grass and broadleaf, because it takes 2 different types of herbicides to control those 2 different weeds. Make a lamp. Shoot it, boy. Shoot. Woo! You post-emergent. Now, there's 2 different types of post-emergent herbicide. One being a selective herbicide and one being a non-selective herbicide. See this Roundup back here? The active ingredient in most Roundups are glyphosate. That is a non-selective herbicide, meaning it doesn't have the ability to pick and choose what it wants to kill. If you spray that on something, it's going to kill it. Plain and simple. It doesn't have the ability to choose what it wants. It don't have the ability to select what it wants to kill. So Roundup is going to kill anything it touches. Depending on, there are weeds and stuff out there it won't kill because they're tougher than the Roundup, but for the most part, it's going to take out anything it sprays on, that you spray it on. So vice versa from that, on the flip side of that, is a selective herbicide. Selective herbicides select out a specific targeted weed to take it out, but not harm something else. So in this case, I've got triplet SF, which is a common three-way, and you would spray this on your turf, and it selects out the broadleaf weeds that are in that turf, and it kills or it controls those broadleaf weeds without harming your grass when it's used correctly. Let me throw that in there. All right, and as far as selective herbicides go, man, I don't know how many of them there are. There are gazillions of them, and they all target different things. That's why we like using broad spectrum, meaning they control a broad range of different weeds. And then you have what I consider like a specialty herbicide, like that goes after sedges, like a Pro Sedge, a Tenacity. The Tenacities actually can be used as a post-emergent and a pre-emergent. You get the best of both worlds with this one. See what I'm saying? So herbicides control weeds. Fertilizer is food to the plant. Herbicides control weeds. Let's go to insecticides back here. All right, insecticide, that's Imidacloprid and bifenthrin, two real popular ones. There's typically two modes of action with an insecticide, meaning there's two ways this can happen. One being systemic, one being contact. Bifenthrin is a good example of a contact, meaning you have to actually spray that stuff on the bug. It has to physically come in contact with the bug to eliminate it or to control it. Imidacloprid, on the other hand, is a good systemic control, meaning you saw my crepe myrtle video the other day. You put it in the ground, the tree takes it up, it translocates throughout the entire tree through the xylem and gets up in there, gets in the leaves, and those aphids or those bugs bite it and whoop, takes them out. So that's two good examples of two insecticides. Grub control would fall under insecticides because a grub is a bug, right? I don't know, is it an insect? I don't know if it's an insect, but it's a bug, a worm, and it takes an insecticide to control that. Go to fungicides. This is two good examples. This is propiconazole and azoxystrobin. Again, just like the fertilizer, just like the herbicide, just like the insecticide, and just like the fungicide, there is a gazillion different ones out there. Just gazillions. I don't even know the names of all of them. There's so many of them. We keep it narrow, tight, and simple because that's just the kind of guy I am. So we stick to the Shrub family of fungicides, and then I like propiconazole as well. So again, a couple of different modes of action. One's a contact, one's a systemic. One gets inside the plant and works, and one is a kills on contact. These revolve around disease control, meaning funguses, mildew, rust. I don't know, man. Name them. There's so many different diseases in the landscape, but you use a fungicide to control those. Okay. Last but not least, the biostimulants, and this is kind of where this whole video stemmed from, because I'm not going to call the man out, but he asked me, would the RGS kill a weed? And I just to me, I know, you already know that, but you have to keep in mind everyone isn't versed or isn't educated in lawn care. It's kind of like my son who's got the titanium rods in his back. If you sent me up there and put me in the emergency room or in the operating room and said, hey, you need to operate on your son, I would have a living cow. I wouldn't even know where to begin because I have no clue about any of that. I'm not educated in that. And so when the yard folks hear this stuff, we tend to go, well, that guy's stupid. Listen to him, he's an idiot. But I had to stop myself and say, hey, this dude really don't know. And maybe he's just chiming in for the first time and he hasn't taken the time to educate himself yet and to learn about lawn care. So let's help him. Let's help him get to that point to where he knows what all this stuff is. So biostimulants, in a nutshell, they're not a fertilizer. They're not a herbicide. They're not insecticides, and they're definitely not fungicides. Now, take the herbicides out. Take the insecticides out. Fertilizer and fungicide. Some biostimulants may act somewhat in a way as a fertilizer, or even some of them act as a little bit of disease control from time to time. But they're not that. Biostimulants, in a nutshell, basically make fertilizer work better, make the ground better. They aerate soil. They increase biological activity. Just listen to the name of it, what it's called, biostimulant. It stimulates the biology. What biology? The biology in that dirt out there. The biology God put in the ground to make this landscape, these trees, these grasses, these bushes, these plants thrive. The biology makes that happen. If you have soil that is completely dead and completely neutral of anything and has nothing in it, dead to the world, it's hard to get things to grow in it. It has to have fertility and nutrition and biology to make that nutrition work for the plant. So that is what biostimulants do. Now, in the biostimulant pack that I put together for you, I picked those 4 simply because they kind of attack a different thing in the yard. They do a different thing in the yard. All biostimulants are not the same. They work differently in different areas of the dirt or toward the plant, or just in general, they work differently. So, biostimulants are not a fertilizer. They won't kill weeds. They won't kill any bugs. What else? I'm racking, and these are just a handful of examples. You can talk about compost tea, earthworm castings, molasses, you name it. There's so many different biostimulants out there that do so many different things. So, at the end of the day, I hope and pray that this was useful and helpful. I hope now that when my buddy that asked about the RGS question, when he sat down and watched this video, he's like, oh my goodness, this just opens his eyes up to everything. A lot, and I've had this question, my company here locally, well, can't we just put one thing on the yard and fix it all? And the answer is absolutely not. There's no silver bullet. There's no magical thing you put on a yard. I mean, the yard needs all this to be good and healthy and thick and lush. It needs help from the weather, help from your cultural practices, all that kind of thing. I'm getting off key. I know, I'm sorry. But anyway, fertilizers. You can put the micro nutrients in with the fertilizers. They're plant foods, kind of like pizza for you. Pre and post emergent herbicides. They're selective and non-selective herbicides. Fungicides, insecticides, both systemic and contact. And then your biostimulants, which make your fertilizers work better, make the ground happy. So there's a ton of information in what I just told you. Tons of it, but it's bare bones, simple, basic. So this was made for the person who is just getting his eyes open and getting into to having a nice yard. Now you know what all this stuff is about and what it's for. So check it out. I have a Jason Cox, Andy Burleson, Tyler Farmer. I need you to email me or contact me through my YouTube channel. When you do that, I will get your address and I will send each of you a case, a biostimulant case. So hey, like, subscribe, share, do all that really fancy stuff, and tell your buddies that we gonna do a case of biostimulant every 1,000 subscribers. I think this is so cool. I just absolutely think this is the coolest thing in the world, to talk about yards and grass and people actually listen. So hey, I hope you have a great night. Peace out.